It's good to see you again. Here I'm back in my office. It's Lindsay Setchell here, day 26, and we're going to be looking at assessing the bars. There it is, as my little subtitle down there under my name. Right, let me just go live on Instagram. Yes, we're live. Okay, I can see quite a few of you are already here. I'm trying to be on time. Hello, and welcome back to the Phoenix Way Mini Live Challenge. I'm Lindsay Setchell. And I'm glad you're here. This is day 26. We've nearly made it all the way through January. Today's topic is following on from yesterday. We were talking about the frog. And today we're going to be talking about assessing the bars, looking at them. Are they overgrown? Have they been trimmed properly? Is there overgrown bar material that's not true bar? Is there true bar? Those sorts of things are what we're going to look at today. They're often misunderstood, the bars. And not only are they often misunderstood, they're often overlooked in hoof care, causing a myriad of issues. One of the biggest, of course, is allowing infection underneath the bar, creating bar abscesses, and also creating pressure points where there shouldn't be pressure points in the sole, which is not comfortable for the horse. They play a really important role in the hoof's overall structure. Without them, the back of the foot would fall apart. So the foot needs them. So we're going to look at them. We're going to explore what they are. We're going to look at their purpose. I'm going to show you some pictures on Canva, and we're going to assess those pictures. I'm going to talk about them and talk about how good care of the bars is going to contribute to a healthy, balanced hoof. Because if you don't care for them and you let them overgrow, then when they grow more and more and more and more and more, until eventually they're covering the whole sole. So we're going to talk about that. Let me know in the comments, have you ever noticed issues with your horse's bars in your horse's hooves? Have you had abscesses, infection, difficult to clear them? I've already noticed a few questions that are coming in. Are they something that you'd like to learn more about? Do you find them difficult to clear? Should you clear them? Put your questions in the comments. Okay, let's whiz through. Let's whiz through and say hello. Oh gosh, loads of you. Sarah Lou's here, YouTube. Hi everyone, she says. Shannon Shipper's here. Hi from Northern Alberta, Canada. Warm, but so icy right now. Sarah says, raced through the monster yard and flooded shelter. Raced through the monster yard and flooded shelter cleanup after Storm Eowyn. Now in where it's warm with a cuppa so I can enjoy the live. Lindsay, you are defo my inspiration to get it finished. Glad. Very much. Very glad about that. Heather Swithenbanks here. Hi, everyone. Wet and windy again in East Midlands. It's past, hopefully, the storm. Don't think you had a great time with it, did you? Hello, everyone, says Sunshine. Georgie Williams is here. Hello. Can't wait to kick out on the bars. Becky Harding's here. Hello, everyone. Alison's here saying, hi again, all bars. So looking forward to this, struggling to clear them properly. So a question. Does that indicate that I'm not fully down to the HSP, which that you're not clearing them? Well, no, not necessarily. It might mean that your horse is not getting enough movement, or that the sole is exfoliating more in between. It means the various reasons, but of course they're going to keep growing. They don't stop growing. If we clear a bar and then we go and have a look, as you well know, because we did our time lapse all about bars, didn't we? And maybe, if you don't mind, we might show that. I don't know if I've got enough time. Probably not. So I'll have to do that in a bigger live. Maybe that would be on Tuesday. Ulrika's here. Hi, everyone from France, from northern France. Lydia says, decluttering my office. What a job. It's cold here in Ontario, Canada today, but looking forward to another mini live. Hello, my fellow hoof heroes. Okay, I'll come back and do more about that in a moment. Let's just talk a little bit more about the bars. I'm going to share my screen any second. But initially, I just wanted to define what the bars are. I want to look at the anatomy of them. We're not going to go inside, but we're just going to look at the anatomy from the outside. The fact that they're part of the hoof capsule that can be seen when you pick up the hoof and look at the sole. But there's such a lot of confusion, and people have lots of ideas about what the functions of the bar are. Some people say they're for support. Some people say they're for weight distribution, protection, traction, grip, that sort of thing. They are a way of finishing off the hoof capsule, first and foremost. They are part of the collateral grooves, which is where the frog it grows in between. They are a structural part of the foot, very much so. And let me tell you, when you're trying to take a hoof capsule off, you can nipper all the way around the hoof on a cadaver hoof, obviously. You can nipper all the way around and try and pull it off, but it will not budge until those bars are basically broken into in order for you to get the hoof capsule off. So they're an integral part of the foot. They're at the back of the foot, and that means that they are obviously going to play a part when the horse puts his foot down and when the horse loads. And if we've got too much bar material there, that's when we're going to have issues. So let's go and have a look at some bar pictures, shall we? I haven't done loads, and a couple of them are pictures from the internet. Okay, so as in our Facebook page. Let me find it. Presenting arms. Connecting your callers. Please hold. Right, here we go. So, can you see me? Can I see you? Yes, you can. Right, lovely. Now then, first and foremost, let's just whiz over to this diagram here. I picked this diagram up from the internet because there are so many diagrams on the internet that aren't correct. Now, what is correct about this is most of the labels. Definitely the frog there. Definitely, let's just blow this up. Definitely the central groove of the frog, if they want to call it that. Some terms are a little bit different. That we'd call that a sulcus at the back. Angle of the wall, well, we call it heels. Let's go down here. Wall, white line, sole, collateral groove. Yes. And then they say the bar. Now, the bar is an extension of the hoof wall. But look at this picture. If you were to look at that, you would be forgiven for thinking that, in fact, that's what they should look like when you pick up the horse's foot. And they shouldn't look like that because those are overgrown bars. And you can see here that there's a depth to the what we call the seat of corn. That's this bit here. There's clearly showing shadow there as depth. And these are, the bar comes down and then it's folding over and creeping its way down the side of the frog. So that's not good. If this horse put his foot down, this bar is being folded over and this would be pressure points. Now, I appreciate this is a diagram, but if you look at the diagrams that I put on the public page a couple of days ago, which were showing you what you find when you type in laminitis in Google, if you go and look at the diagrams, the majority of them are incorrect. So this is a real problem, because if people are Googling and they want to search stuff, they're going to come across. This is the first thing I thought, I'll put it in Google, I'll put bars in and we'll see what comes up. And that was one of the first diagrams that I saw. It's clearly showing you that it's incorrect, but it doesn't say that it's incorrect. They're just telling you that's where it is. Okay. Doesn't look that dissimilar to this, does it? Because this is all overgrown, and this looks, to the people that know that, well, let me move that, I'll make it bigger to there. To the people that know us, many of you that are watching this now would look at that and go, oh my goodness, overgrown bar. Yes. So this is overgrown. What we have here is we've got the hoof wall going all the way around, and we have the heels, and then we have the heels coming down into the bar, because it is horn of the hoof wall. It has its own laminae bar. Now, if you look here, let me see if I can get, I need to get a line up. Come along. Let's get a line in there. Right, let's just change that weight down to 2. Okay, can you see? Maybe I won't actually, because maybe you won't be able to see that so well. If you've got a, what am I doing? Oh, I don't want border. Stop it, Lindsay. I want the weight of the line. Are you still with me? Okay, so if we put this here across the foot there, this is where the true bar ends. Just more like there, really. just about there on this horse. Now, it looks like it in this image that those bars end almost well over halfway down the frog. However, these heels are too long. They are above the hard sole plane and they need to come back somewhat. And there's quite a bit of compaction here in this foot. And so when that happens and those heels are brought back, and they'll be brought back further here, it won't actually be ending there. The bars will end a little bit further up, you see. But look at, let me just get that line out of the way. All this is extra material. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's sitting up above the sole. It's not meant to be there. It's not been worn down. This horse is walking around with lumps in his foot. Now, we've talked about the fact that the sole has a slight bowl to it. Some breeds more than others. And these bars, when they're allowed to grow up, they get to be the same height as the hoof wall here. So they're big. Let me just make that shorter. They are at the same height in this area here as the hoof wall, and so therefore that horse is now walking on them, not comfortable. If he's walking on soft ground, but if he's walking on harder ground, that's going to be problematic. And it's probably indicating very much that this horse is not walking over varied terrains. So the true bar, if it only comes down a little way, the true bar being the bar that actually has laminae that's growing, that creates the bar, where the bar is attached and it has its own bar dermis. So if that's the case, what on earth is all this stuff then? Well, this is accreted bar material that's grown too big and long, grown forward and mixed in with a bit of sole material in there. And this shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be there. So let's move on. Let's just delete that just in case I need it. Now this, look, here in the middle is a horse's foot that has never been touched by human hand. This is a Mustang's foot from the Great Basin. Look at the difference. This horse did go on lots of varied terrain. You can see that. You can see that the hoof wall and everything is down to that top part of the sole, and then it dips down. You just see that it dips down in a bit of a bowl effect. But look at the bars. Now you can see the true bar here. You can see where that true bar is just ending, just here. And it has a white line. It has an inner and an outer hoof wall, just like the hoof wall does too. Now, these are meant to be passive wear points. Now, that's not to say they don't get worn. They do, because if this horse wasn't wearing his whole foot, then those bars would end up looking like this one here on the right. But they don't, do they? You can clearly see that bar material. Now, there's no way, if you look at this, that this infection could get in and under any of this. You can see it's absolutely solid. Like I said, nobody, solid and well connected, nobody, human being, touched this horse's foot to trim it. Trimmed it himself through what we call behavior driven wear. So there's no possibility of getting any infection. This is a well sealed hoof capsule. But let's move across to this one. Now, Sarah will probably recognize this. So Sarah sent me this picture. This was before. This is a few cycles in when Sarah's now training to be a pro, and this is her working out what's going on with her big cobs, Hamish's feet. Now, initially, when she started trimming, Hamish had so much bar material that it was in fact covering the majority of this sole. Now you can see is what we call a monobar. The bar material has grown so long and so overgrown that it's around the apex of the frog. Now, prior to this, it also was covering the majority of the sole, but it was so compacted that Sarah didn't see it until she started clearing as much as she could the walls down to the hard sole plane that she could see, and then that meant that he could exfoliate more on his foot, and gradually things, and she would get off as much as she could, and then gradually things would start to show themselves. After this trim, when she could see it like this, she was then able to clear it. Again, look at the difference between this foot, which is very, looks very overgrown now. Now, this is a foot that was being trimmed every 6 weeks, but because it was so compacted to start with, Sarah had foot to work her way through, and it just kept showing itself and showing itself and showing itself until eventually she's getting down to more of an image like this. But you can see how overgrown it is. Let's just have a look at these two images. Let's just move that one out of the way a bit so it doesn't get you to look over there. So this top one again, this is from a Mustang. It's a different one to that one. Slightly different. You can see again that these are well connected. They're smooth down into that little bowl. All's doing well. And then we look on this side and we've got almost a mono bar again. So remember, this is true bars to here. And this is where, you can't see this at all the way down here is excess bar material. All of this shouldn't be there, creating pressure points. That's why they end up doing what we say folding over. They grow up and then they get pushed down when they get to the same height as the walls at the quarters. This foot here is on a horse that has just finished a 5-day hiking in the UK, and without any trim. This is after 80 odd kilometers of hiking, and you can just see, can't you, that you can see where that true bar is. It's not overgrown. He's got some sole that's even beginning to exfoliate. That's even after 80k of ride. This is just as she took the photograph. She'd finished doing 80 odd k with this horse. He didn't wear his foot off, as you can see. That's one really good solid foot. It looks a bit gnarly, but that's okay. That's all wear. That's all wear, good wear, but he didn't wear it off. As opposed to this here, where this has been a bar abscess. You can see this bar on this side that's still there. You can see how folded over it is. Well, that's what it was like on this side, and it got an infection underneath it. And that infection spread to all of this area here. And you can see where it's gone. It was all around the frog, and where all that frog has peeled off and all this area is peeled off. And it's a bit black and a bit smelly. And this is new, good sole underneath, because the infection was right inside where that bar was, making that travel all around the foot. Obviously, incredibly painful. And then it popped out at the back. I haven't got a picture of that popping out of the back. Now, this doesn't show itself like this straight away. If your horse has an abscess in the bar, you don't necessarily see it until maybe 2-3 trims later, when the new sole is growing up and that old sole is ready to pop off in the old frog where the infection had been underneath. So that's when it's ready to come out, because it's already oozed its way out of the back of the foot, and this is what's left. If I show you an example of this here, this was another image that we put up on Facebook. Number 1 cause of abscesses. It is top of the tree when it comes to hoof abscesses. Now look at this. This is an overgrown bar. You can understand how overgrown and folded over it is. It should be back here, look, and this is all overgrown material being left because the person doing that believed that these bars shouldn't be touched because they're used for traction, because he picked that information up on the internet in an article on a website page, and I'm not touching them. I've been told to leave them. But this horse was continually on and off lame. It's got big pressure points here, massive pressure points. You can't see the seat of corn, which means you can't bring the heels back to where they need to be, because you can't see any sole underneath here because it's all been covered up. When you go and start removing it, you can see there's a crack here. I hope you can see that. This area here, there's a little crack. And it's starting to open up when this bar the excess bar starts to be removed. And you can see here where that is getting, where there's infection underneath. And this is the tip of the iceberg. And that's what happens with infection. Remember the one I've just shown you? This is the tip of the iceberg. You can see it's starting to open up here, but the rest of this bar is still big and chunky, and it needs to come off because it shouldn't be there. That horse is walking around on that bar. So as the bar starts to be cleared, and you can see it's starting to be trimmed back, this is starting to show itself and it's starting to develop. This isn't us going digging. This is just it starting to show. And then as you go further, you can see that not only that, all of this bar now is actually not connected anymore, because the infection had gone all the way down the collateral groove, all the way down here, look, towards the side of the heel, all full of infection. And then when we go to there, this is just where it's now been brought back. The heel is being brought back to where it needs to be. And you can see that the new bar is just peeking in there, which is way up here, ends just here. All of that infection and pain, all that bruising, all of that pain that horse was intermittently lame on, was all caused because this bar material was left. And that's not what you should be doing. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Let's see if we can have some more shout outs. Okay. Pia's here. Hello, Pia. I must sit up straight. Pia's here. Hello. Ellen's here. Lavorato. Hello from Tennessee. Have we met? Welcome. Ramona's here. Hello, everyone. Alexandra Cameron's here. Hello from New Zealand. Jenny Ackerstrom's here from Sweden. Dawn Lim's here. Good evening, everyone. Hope you had a lovely evening yesterday, Lindsay. I did. Thank you very much. It was very lovely. The lady who was cooking, the chef, showed it was like a oh my god, I can't think of the word. I've got. So it's like a B&B, okay? And she used to work, Chambre d'Hôte, that's right, Tim shouted it out, I couldn't think of the one. She worked for Marco Pierre White, and she also trained with Gordon Ramsay. So my eyes popped out on stalks, and I thought, oh my God, what's it going to be like? And we knew the reviews were great, and well, it was amazing food. I can't tell you how amazing it was. Anyway, Meta Anderson's here. Hi, enjoyed the frog replay earlier today. Good job. Anita's there. Howdy. Love learning about the bars. Uta's here. Nice to be here again. I love you all. We love you all. We all love you all. Yes, overgrowth, says Alexandra. Love learning about them. Deanna says, good chilly morning. Ali Halfpenny is here. Hello. Sunshine says, never really understood them until your rocket science lessons. Thank you, Lindsay. Now, just saying that, if you go and look on my YouTube channel, that was my I've slept a few times since then. That was my rocket science lesson last week. That was all about the bars and what can happen if you leave them. They migrate. That accreted bar material migrates out and covers the sole. So if you haven't seen that, it will complement this live brilliantly. Go and have a look at that. It's not rocket science lesson. Very important. It's me drawing on the board again, trying to show you what goes on. Sarah says, Hamish's bars are no longer fractured. Finally getting on top of them. It's been a battle. It's been a battle. And you know what? It didn't need to be a battle, did it? But because they were left and misunderstood, that's when it becomes a problem. And the trouble is we can't find true balance when we're doing things like leaving the bars. So important we don't do that. Anne's here from Ontario. Melanie's here. Hello all. Stella says, good morning. Good morning. Did we wake you up? Ulrika says, I learned in the past to trim bars like a ski slope. Now I understand that this implicates heels not being down to the HSP. Right. And some people leave, I explained this in the It's Not Rocket Science lesson, as the heel comes into the bar, they leave bar and then it scoops down. That shouldn't happen either, because that's bar that horse is walking on. We call that the shoulder of the bars. I haven't got time now, but remind me on Tuesday. I think that's what we'll do on Tuesday. Yesterday I saw some of these overgrown bars. It covered the sole some and made the hoof look completely fat. Right. So, my horse has got flat feet. No horse has got a flat foot. Some have less concave feet than others, but excess bar material that gets compacted into the sole where it all mixes together and makes it look like it's flat. Very well observed. The hooves were flat until the bars were trimmed. Brilliant. Hello, but we don't want you digging, do we? And this is where it's hard, because it's hard sole plane. It's hard to judge it. I don't want people going in and carving them out, but what I do want people to do is I want them to not get to that stage. And if they are at that stage, keep the walls, etc., down to the hard sole plane that you can see, and gradually that horse will hopefully start to exfoliate it. If you're very experienced, Meta's more experienced, when we see, we know how far to go. That hard sole plane is indicating where you can go with your bar. So if you don't find the hard sole plane, you don't know where the bar needs to go to. You can also see the termination crack on the left bar. Yes, you could on those images. Yes. Really late. We'll have to watch replay. No problem. I recognize the hoof. Absolutely. Okay. So Sarah says, Hamish's entire body has now had improvements. Even his tummy isn't as sunken, all from clearing those hooves, compaction and bars. Poor boy had those hooves for years till I took over and I learned. Absolutely. Okay. Very quickly. Let's carry on. So, signs of healthy bars, where you can see the white line, the inner hoof wall, the outer hoof wall. They should be visible, not overgrown or excessively thick or folded over or infected. They should be smooth down into that bowl of the foot. Absolutely, they should. It's very important that we learn from animals that are in the optimum environment, which is where they were designed by Mother Nature to live, and look at what their feet look like when no human being has touched them. That's how we learn. And that's what you see. Healthy bars, they're smooth and they align naturally, don't they, with the rest of the hoof. They don't take over the sole. They don't start taking over the seat of corn. They don't overpower. They're not encroaching onto other things. So problematic bars are overgrown bars, folded over, causing discomfort and disrupting balance, because that horse is not going to feel nicely balanced. It's going to it'll be putting his foot down and feeling those pressure points, like having little pebbles in your foot, and it won't feel pleasant at all. Creates pressure points. When bars get continually infected over and over and over again, one of the things that we found out is that this can become a weak spot in the horse's foot. And even though you start trimming them correctly, they're weakened. And they might continue to get infected for a while, a little bit like how the white line can get damaged, so the bars can. And then over time, they get healthier. Cracks, splits in the overgrown bar, that's what you'll start to see when you can actually usually see where the bar ends, as I showed you in those images. So it's really important that you regularly assess the bars to help you identify these issues early. Now, with Alison, I asked her to take we'll talk about this on Tuesday on the big live. I asked her to take a time lapse. Well, I turned it into a time lapse video where she took a photograph of her one foot every day for 6 weeks, just the bottom of the foot. You could do that too. You could take a picture, trim your horse's foot, take a picture of the sole, and then on every single day, take another picture. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do for your challenge after this live. Not if it's nighttime. Don't bother going doing it now. It's too dark. So inspect them, make sure that they are not overgrown, make sure that you can look at the side of the hoof too. Are those lumps that you might not realize are lumps? Are they that are coming down and encroaching around the apex of the frog? Can you see them from the side poking up above the wall or even at the same height as the wall? That's going to create pressure points. Understand them, learn about them. Okay, so that's the takeaway for today, is that they are a vital part of the hoof structure. They support balance, because if they aren't trimmed properly, your balance is going to be off. Their overall function is to give structure to the back of the foot, and so that the foot can properly load when the horse puts his foot down. And if you regularly assess their condition, you can ensure that you are making sure that they are not contributing to an unhealthy foot that's not functioning properly. So go and take a closer look at them. Maybe do what Alison did. Take that picture every day. That's a nice little challenge for you to do. Make sure that they're smooth, they're balanced, they're aligned with the rest of the foot. They're trimmed down to that hard sole plane. Can you see the hard sole plane? Is it like you've got a situation like Sarah's Hamish? If with little minis, when bar material is left, not just with minis, with all horses, but minis can be apt often to Coke can feet. Well, not just minis, but it's very common for them because it's not trimmed correctly and it all starts to compact. And before it compacts, and before you know it, you've got absolutely no clue where the heel's meant to go. And so therefore the foot just becomes a real problem. So I'm sorry I didn't do more shout outs. Kathy Yorkshire Lass is here. Victoria Tunke's here. Heat Matt's here again. Equine therapist Gabika Laveranders. Nice to see you. Caroline's here. Hoof Trim's here. There's loads of you. Therese, Bonnie Ray, Mindy Bursey's here. Loads and loads and loads and loads of people. It's lovely to see you. Tib Dieter's here. Great shout outs. Thank you for joining me. Been a very quick lesson just about the bars. Go and have a look at that rocket science lesson that I put out. I think we released it on Monday. Go and have a look at that on YouTube. And if you found today's session helpful, what should you do? Let's hear it. What should you do? You should like, share, subscribe, follow, tag a friend, because together we're going to create healthier hooves and happier horses. One step, one hoof, one owner, one horse at a time. So until next time, peeps, take care of yourself and your horse. And remember, what do we say? The Phoenix way is about rising stronger together. I'll see you soon. Take care now. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.